everybody, and welcome to the Aggieville Alleycats podcast, where come rain, shine, and everything in between. We're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news that you so love. I'm Ace Edwards, right alongside
Connor Baltazar.
Welcome to this week's weekly recap, where we do have quite a bit going on. We get to talk about track, which everyone knows our history. They're well aware that we have an interesting history with track, but this time it's positive because we're not going through result by result, which was our critical error we made the last time we did it. We're going to talk about the women's Big 12 tournament and then the BatCats. But before we do get started, those of you who follow me on Twitter know that my parents, there's a GoFundMe for my parents. I'm not going to go through the entire story here. I'll leave a link in this episode's description. But more importantly, I just want to give a sincere thank you to everyone who has donated to my parents. Like every single, no matter if you gave money or whether you spread the news, from me and my family, all we can really do is thank you, because every single bit of support has been extremely meaningful to me and my family. So from the bottom of my heart, genuinely, thank you all very much. But now we can talk about the thing that everyone actually came here for, and that is the K-State news. And so Big 12 outdoor, was it outdoor or indoor?
Indoor.
Okay. The Big 12 indoor championships for track and field were last week, and K-State lost technically the championship by 1 point. Getting second when we weren't projected to be, from where we were years ago, that's a massive improvement, and I think that's just Travis Geffert working his magic. And I think K-State track and field, at least the men, are at the time of recording 5 in the country. And the story isn't, which maybe it should be, and I do want to give credit to the track and field team. They're really, really good this year. And getting second at the Big 12 indoor is amazing. That's not the story, though. Connor, there's sort of 2 stories, both of which directly involve K-State getting hopped over by another school.
Yeah. So the one that I think at this point a lot of people have heard about, even if you don't really follow K-State track and field particularly closely, which I imagine a lot of people who listen to this show probably don't, because it's just not a mainline sport for K-State, at least not recently. But late in the meet, the very last event is the men's 4x4, which that's kind of a universal thing. The 4x4 is always last, no matter what track meet you go to. The same is said here. So everybody's running their 4x4. And the reason that it was so important was that K-State and Texas Tech were in first and second place at this point. But K-State was just close enough to where if they won the 4x4, and Texas Tech did not score any points in the 4x4, which means getting 9th or lower, then that would mean that K-State would tie with Tech for the Big 12 championship in the indoor, which Texas Tech, I think they've now won it 4 years in a row in the indoor. And it's hosted at their track facility as well. So it's a very long shot of making a legitimate, genuine run at first. But the possibility is there. But going into this race, Texas Tech is kind of a presumed top 3 4x4 leg. So the chances, again, maybe 1%. But then, a little bit like early in the race, the very unexpected happens where Texas Tech runner kind of runs up behind an Arizona State runner, gets too close, and causes a collision where the Arizona State runner and the Texas Tech runner both go down. The Arizona State runner doesn't get back up. They don't finish. The Texas Tech runner kind of rolls and then takes about 2 or 3 steps inside of the track, so kind of in that middle area inside of the track, and then runs back onto the actual track surface. But at this point, he's way behind. And so it's K-State with Baylor right on their tails. But K-State ended up holding off Baylor, ran a fantastic race and won the 4x4 event. And Tech came in a tenth of a second ahead of the ninth place team. So they got the 1 point that they needed to win the men's indoor championship for the Big 12. But of course, the controversy stems from the collision early in the race with the Arizona State runner. And the issue that comes up is the steps that he takes inside the track. And they reviewed it. They probably spent about 30 minutes on it. And they end up not disqualifying the Tech runner, which is probably the wrong ruling. It is ultimately a judgment call, but the reasoning was that the Tech runner was forced off the inside of off the track by the Arizona State runner, which I guess my argument against that is he's the reason the Arizona State runner fell in the first place. So why are we giving this guy the benefit of the doubt? But they spent a long time reviewing that. Probably should have gone K-State's way, but it did not, and it really stings because K-State probably should have walked away with the men's indoor championship for Big 12. But they unfortunately were not quite able to, and that really stings. But there's another controversy from this meet that I did not know about until I listened to an interview Travis Gefford did with Mitch Fortner with K-Man. And in that, he was talking about his the 60-meter hurdles race earlier in the meet, which this one wasn't on my radar because K-State didn't have any athletes in the finals for this one. So I was not aware there was controversy going on with that race to begin with. But if you go back and watch the replay of that event, there's right at the start, there's kind of a tangle of several athletes. One of them is a Texas Tech runner that ends up finishing 7th. But if you watch it, the last 3 hurdles that he goes through, he pushes all of them down with his hands. So he's got his hands extended and just runs through them. And now I think you could forgive the first 1 or maybe 2 even because there was a collision. And those typically, I think it seems like, are forgiven. But by the time he got to the 5th one, he was kind of back at full speed or was just not really even trying and used his hands to push down the hurdle and finished the race. And based on the interview, Gefford, he initially didn't actually file a protest right when it happened because he was so sure that they were going to DQ him anyways without a protest. But then he ended up going back and doing it. And they came back to him and they said that, he protested. He said he pushed over the 5th hurdle, which is the last one, I believe. And that should result in a DQ. And they came back and said, well, when he pushed over the 3rd hurdle, it was because he had just been contacted by the Arizona runner, so we're not going to hold that against him. And Gefford was like, well, I didn't protest the 3rd hurdle. I protested the 5th hurdle. Yeah. And the organizers were just like, whatever, dude. And, so he appealed and the same result came back. And I guess he's asked around the track world and people are kind of incredulous at it. And it's a really just kind of a blatant violation of black letter rules. It's just on the books. You cannot extend your arms, knock down a hurdle and not get DQ'd. That's pretty basic stuff in the track world. So K-State, and the reason that's relevant is because that's 2 points for finishing 7th. K-State gets 2nd place by 1 point. So take away those 2, and then all of a sudden K-State wins outright. So not even a shared one with the 4x4. This would have been outright indoor Big 12 champions. And man, that really stings because And I don't think it's like a conspiracy or anything, but it is really unfortunate that this all happened in Lubbock as well. Like I know it's like Big 12 officials that are like doing this, but it is very unfortunate and not a good look that it happened in Lubbock and all of these calls favored Texas Tech. And for what it's worth, there was also another issue that really didn't impact K-State's women's final placement, but Tech also, there was a protest against them, the women's 4x4, for running a K-State runner out of a lane. And they ended up ruling it incidental contact, which if you go back and watch it, that it just isn't. But
not, yeah.
It ultimately did not affect K-State's placement. It was about Tech versus BYU at the finals. But so there was like at least 3 pretty controversial rulings that went in Tech's favor that ultimately decided the Big 12 championships. And yeah, it really stings. There's no other way to really go about it. I guess stuff like that is why Travis Gefford wants to get our indoor facility to a point where we can host the indoor meets for Big 12 championships, because right now we don't meet the capacity standards. And I think we might need a little bit more in terms of like facilities for the athletes. But yeah, that's most of the spiel about stuff that went wrong and controversies. Outside of that, K-State did perform really well. We had several individual champions on the men's and the women's sides. And for the men to go from dead last year to 1 point out of first this year, and probably should have at least shared the title. That's very, very impressive from the athletes and from the staff. So kudos to them, even though they didn't ultimately get the win. They're still going to score really well, I think, at the national meet. They probably aren't going to win the national title, but they should be like a top 10 finishing team. And that's a really, really impressive jump for this K-State track program. Gefford, I'm happy to see him stick up for the athletes. I'm glad that he's like not going quietly about it as well, because I think this is good for K-State and good for the athletes to see the coach not be afraid to call out just very bad decisions where he sees them, and stick up for the men and women on his teams. So it sucks that we weren't able to get first, but still a good weekend, I think, overall, and a remarkably entertaining finish, because going into that 4x4, it's like, okay, K-State needs to win and Tech needs to score 0 points for K-State to win. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, so that's just not going to happen. No. So I'm sitting there kind of disinterested, and then the Tech runner just completely wipes out, and it's like lean forward and chair moment. Okay, there might be something here. So which is why they put the 4x4 at the end, because weird stuff always happens in the 4x4.
Yeah, and I agree with you that it is kind of unfortunate, but on the other hand, the transformation of Texas Tech to Texas Techistan has become really annoying to watch, and watching them get the benefit of the doubt after spending an exorbitant amount of money on just about every sport. It doesn't feel right. It's one of those that even if it wasn't, for example, the women's, that, it doesn't feel right there either. It isn't just that it hurt K-State thing. Don't get me wrong. That's the main reason why I am as upset as I am, which granted is a 4 out of 10, a mild annoyance out of 10. But it's just not a good look that this continues to happen. And granted, it's had a lot of non-revenue sports, but if you've watched a Texas Tech game for either of the basketball teams, the look gets even worse as time goes on, which, like I said, the fall from grace, there's a reason why I've started referring to Texas Tech as Texas Techistan because it's almost like two different fan bases. Don't get me wrong, there were bad apples before. We experienced them with our baseball tweets, but now it just seems that everyone has decided that they suck.
Yeah, that is the bad side of being given unlimited money and immediately being able to be successful in anything is they've become the very thing they swore to destroy in the University of Texas at Austin. We unshackle ourselves from the Longhorns only to hitch our wagon to the first generation version of Texas, it seems, in terms of how they're kind of trying to throw their weight around in the conference. So potential concern for the future there, because I don't want us to just go from one Texas school, like deciding everything we do and getting favoritism to another. But hopefully we'll get to that point. I still, but there's still good in them. I can see it. But we'll have to wait and see, I guess, on that. But still, really unfortunate finish for the men there at the end, which is too bad. But still, excellent performances, and they're only going to get better as time goes on, I think. And I'm really looking forward to the outdoor season as well, because I think we should add maybe a few athletes too that could help us out there. So,
yeah. So that's the track news. Now we can talk about the women's Catsketball team. They did drop their last regular season game up against Iowa State. I don't really want to talk about it because anytime I have to talk about Audie Crooks is a nightmare to me. But they have had two tournament games in the Big 12 tournament, I should say. First off, that court is disgusting. I really hate how that looks. I'm not sure if this is a minority opinion, but I hate the court. I hate how it looks. But K-State has won their first two Big 12 tournament games. The first one pretty comfortably up against Cincinnati, 91-66. And then a miraculous comeback up against Texas Tech, where they finished the game on a 17-0 run. It was 21-0 run, rather. Texas Tech did not score for the last 8 minutes of the game. And yeah, so that was miraculous. And this is a ranked Texas Tech team. And I want to give a shout out to Manhattan Hell on Twitter. First off, one of the best K-State burners, in my opinion, who proceeded to tag Brett Yormark and say, "Quick, K-State is about to beat Tech in something. Do something." That was very funny. But starting with the Cincinnati game, the story from this one, other than it being a dominant victory, is the K-State women setting a record for most three-pointers made in a Big 12 women's tournament game. They made 17 three-pointers, went 17 of 32, with the big hitters being Taryn Sides, Nastia Klassens, and Jordan Spicer, going 5 of 11, 5 of 7, and then 6 of 8. So a lot of damage done by the top gals. But, I mean, you set a record, and also Taryn Sides stuffed the stat sheet. So we had two stuffed stat sheets in this game, actually. Jordan Spicer and Taryn Sides both did it, though. Seeing a block on Taryn's stat line will always be very funny to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that Brandy got it as well because she's missing a turnover, and I don't want to encourage a turnover. So
yeah, that's fair.
I'm qualifying Brandy here, using my executive powers.
That's fine.
But yeah, I'm not sure how you want to structure going through these through the box score here, but I guess I'll just kind of ramble a bit.
You can take the starters, but we can also just ramble a bit because it really is just the three horsewomen there destroying worlds.
Yeah, obviously Taryn, Nastia, and Jordan are leaders in scoring points. Taryn with 20, Nastia with 18. They're really efficient as well. Nastia was 6 of 9 from the floor, 8 rebounds as well. Taryn, her 20, she added 5 assists, 2 turnovers, 7 of 13 from the field, 5 of 11 from 3. So really, really good. Tess Heel took a bit of a backseat, but that is okay when others are doing as well as they were. Brandy Harrod, 9 points, 7 rebounds. 4 of those rebounds were offensive, and then 4 steals. Really good. And Gina Garcia, only 6 points, but she had 10 assists in this game to 5 turnovers. And a lot of those turnovers were kind of in quick succession when Cincinnati kind of made like their last attempt at a push to kind of close the margin. They like brought a press out of nowhere, and she turned it over like 2 or 3 times there. So most of the game, Gina was great. And I was really happy with that. And then, 17 threes, Big 12 tournament record by 2, actually by 3, because I think the previous record was 14. And we had the record by the end of the third quarter. And then, other than that, Jordan Spicer, she set the K-State record for threes in a Big 12 tournament game. Or she tied it with I think it was Kendra Wecker, maybe. It was either Wecker or Wiesman. I can't remember who.
I think it was Wecker.
And then, other than that, they set the Big 12 tournament record for threes, and then also either set or tied the K-State as a team single game record for threes in a game, which I believe we set earlier this season. So when this team gets hot, they are tough to stop.
Yeah. And we've come so far from the 1 for 34 game. It wasn't 1 for 34. It was something ridiculous like that, though.
Yeah, that KU game. The one make, I think, was like a Laura Mackey bank-in 3.
Yep.
I can't remember what year that was, but that was really painful because running a 4-out, 1-in, like 3-point heavy offense is not fun when you don't have any consistent 3-point shooters. So,
no.
Learn that the hard way.
Yeah, in terms of the bench players, K-State did kind of get to empty their bench here. Jordan Spicer obviously was the big piece, playing 20 minutes, 20 points, so a point a minute. 7 of 10 from the field, 6 of 8 from 3, a rebound, 2 fouls, 2 assists, a turnover, a block, and 2 steals. Everyone else just kind of lumps together. Ivana Sekic played 5 minutes, 2 of 4 from the field, a rebound, a foul, and a turnover for 4 total points. Anaya Foy, 15 minutes, 1 of 5, 1 of 3 from 3, a rebound and a foul for 3 points. Janessa Cotton, 5 minutes, 1 of 2 from the field, 1 rebound, 2 fouls, and an assist for 2 total points. Ramaya Way, Isella Arenas, Michaela Parks, and Alexis Hess, none of them registered points, though Ramaya White did end up getting 3 rebounds. So it sort of getting to empty the bench towards the end of the game there. That was good. But the next game, I think, is the more important of them because Cincinnati's bad. Texas Tech is decidedly – I mean, they're not – okay, they're ranked top 25, so they're obviously good. But I would say I wouldn't classify them as world beaters, and maybe that's just because K-State has beat them twice now.
Yeah, I was going to say, we do have that experience over them. And the first time that we beat them, they were undefeated at that time.
Yep.
They had just kind of made their way into the top 25. They did have a very weak non-conference schedule. But, I mean, they still did enough to get the 5 seed in the conference tournament. So, they're still a good team. They're just not, undefeated level good. But we were able to get him twice, and Jeff Mindy's really had Tech's number while he's been here. This is the 5th time in a row that we've beaten Texas Tech.
Yeah, which is, of all the schools to pick to have their number, that's very funny. But for this one, I'll go over the starters. Nastia Claessens played 33 minutes, 5 of 11 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. That's an overarching theme, only going 5 of 25 from 3 this game, so not very efficient there. 4 of 6 on her free throws, 8 total rebounds, 4 of them being offensive, 2 fouls and assists, 2 turnovers, 2 blocks, 4 steals for 14 points. And yes, that is indeed a stuffed stat sheet. Taryn Sides, 38 minutes, one of her least efficient days that we've seen in a while from her. 4 of 14, 1 of 8 from 3, but did get perfect 4 of 4 on her free throws. 6 rebounds, a foul, 2 assists, a turnover, and 2 steals for 13 total points. Tess Heel, 29 minutes, 4 of 10 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3, perfect 2 of 2 on her free throws, 3 rebounds, 4 fouls, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 blocks, a steal short of a stuffed stat sheet for 10 points. Gina Garcia, 24 minutes, 1 of 4 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover for 2 points. And then rounding out the starting 5 is Brandy Harrod, 11 minutes, 0 of 2 from the field, 0 of 4 on her free throws, 2 rebounds, a foul, 3 turnovers, and a block. So very tough day at the office for Brandy, but I mean that's just going to happen sometimes. And I'm not going to look at anyone and say that they had a good 3-point shooting day.
Yeah, the only one I think you can even make an argument is Anaya Foy going 2 of 5, which like 2 of 5 is 40%. And if someone had a like 40% shooting average like season long, I'd be like, yeah, that's really good. But seeing like 2 of 5 like in like an individual game stat line, it like doesn't feel as good, even though it is the same. But you know what I mean. But Anaya, she led in bench scoring. She actually had 12 points in this game, played 25 minutes. And then 2 rebounds for her, a block and a steal. So she was just an assist away from stuffing the stat sheet, and she played really good defense down the stretch. She had a lot more playing time in kind of the late game, like crunch time, than she normally does. Jeff Mitty specifically shouted her out in his post game as someone that's really stepped up recently and has kind of earned the right to play in those clutch moments late in the game. Jordan Spicer, 32 minutes, only 2 of 7 from 3, so she only had 6 points in this one. Had 4 rebounds, and then 1 assist to 2 turnovers in this. So not her most efficient day. And then a little bit back to earth after her 20-point performance against Cincinnati. And then Maya White, 1 of 2 at the free throw line for her, so 1 point, and she had 2 rebounds and a steal. So it was a much shorter bench for K-State in this one. But Spicer, definitely not the most efficient day, but she has really kind of honestly become kind of the heart of this team recently. She's been playing with a lot more emotion recently, and I think she's been directing her emotion or channeling it a little better than she did at the beginning of the year, because it was very easy for her early in her K-State career this season to kind of get down on herself when things weren't going well. But she's kind of, it feels like these last couple of weeks, she's kind of been channeling like those negative emotions like onto like hating the other team on defense, which I think has worked well for her actually. Not to like encourage negativity, but I'll make an exception for Jordan because it seems to be working for her. And I think it also helps for her and also for Gina in the Cincinnati game that they got snubbed from the all freshman team on the Big 12 list, both Gina and Jordan here. And I think they took it a little personally, especially in that Cincinnati game. Really kind of show that they deserved it over Utah's guard. But yeah, still, I mean, obviously the highlight here outside of really any one performance, because this really was like the definition of a team grinded out win. Like it's teach tape for that. It's the 21-0 run to end the game when ESPN gave Texas Tech a 99% chance of victory with 7.5 minutes to go. And then from that point, Texas Tech did not score again the rest of the game, which like that is like absolutely absurd. Like major shout out to the women's team for buckling down and playing with a level of toughness that you really just do not see that much. Like, and it's just like hard to even like activate that level of that toughness and grit. You obviously have to have a few breaks go your way to have a 21-0 run in such a high leverage game.
Yeah, like a few bricked wide open threes.
Yeah, Texas Tech drew up a perfect play late, and we didn't switch it properly. And they just bricked an open three. So we did get a little lucky there. But I think that's karma sorting things out after the track meet this weekend. So, which I think Tech can probably live with that trade, a Big 12 championship for additional rest before the NCAA tournament for their women's team. But it probably feels pretty good for the women's basketball team. And it gets K-State above 500 again. still at this point, I mean, like if you're looking at March Madness, it's a like we need to win the Big 12 tournament like equation.
Yeah, we would have to win the tournament, which means beating TCU, which I don't see happening. We'd have to beat Oklahoma State, which I think that game's a toss-up. I think they're an easier opponent than Texas Tech, but I think they match up with us worse, which is why they kind of schwacked us the first time. Or am I misremembering that?
Oklahoma State.
We won. We won the first time.
We only played.
Yeah, I am misremembering that.
Yeah, you might be thinking of TCU. You might be getting your wires crossed there.
Okay.
Because TCU, we did get schwacked by them earlier this season.
Point still stands. We have a few places to go before then. We do play Texas Tech. Nope. We do play Oklahoma State next, the day that this comes out at 11 a.m. And I do want to bring up the point about Jordan Spicer. I think that there is actually like a perfect mentor on the team for that, and that's Tess Heel. Because Tess Heel is just a bulldog. Like she just categorically refuses to be bullied, and it seems like she gets angry every time someone tries. So I think that's the perfect sort of model for Jordan Spicer to follow. But it'll be interesting to see how K-State does up against Oklahoma State. And if they win, our best hope is to hope that someone knocks out TCU like on accident, because we do not match up well with them.
Yeah, our only hope, I think, is TCU like just intentionally resting all of its starters like for the NCAA tournament, and hope that they just tank to get additional rest. Although, honestly, I guess they're like too much rest can actually be a problem. So, like, I don't know how much teams are buying into it. We see it a lot with conference tournaments where the teams that don't get the double bye, but they get the single bye. Like a lot of them do not play very well against the teams that have to play the first day. And then those teams that play day one, they just get tired legs by day 3, but day 2, they're like really sharp. So that could be part of what we're seeing. But yeah, we have a totally legitimate chance to beat Oklahoma State. They're like a tough team, of course, but we'd love to beat them. And if we beat them, then we're guaranteed above 500, which I think guarantees us a WNIT placement. And I think if we are 500, I don't know if we still like get a guaranteed spot or not. But and there's also the WBIT, which is like another like secondary women's tournament. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, and I think for a young team, getting that experience either at the WNIT or WBIT, I think that is massively important. Now, if this was the men's team and we were in this situation, like with the current roster construction, first off, it would be an improvement on what we have now, which is extremely sad. But then it would be disappointing because that team is not young. This team is extremely young. So getting that postseason experience, I think, would just be invaluable for them. I think that one way or another, probably WBIT, if I were to guess. Maybe they get to host a game that way. But, I'm not upset with how this women's season has gone. In fact, this is pretty close to what we thought would happen. We thought maybe we would have been on the bubble a little longer, but we also predicted the February collapse.
Yeah, but we really did hit that collapse. I almost thought we were going to skip it, but we just got it later than usual because we finished 1-4. But yeah, I agree. I think that really outside of maybe that first football season, this might be like the closest that we've gotten to like really nailing what the team is going to like finish at preseason, and especially the vibe as well. I think that like we knew from the start that this team was going to be like a frustrating, like inconsistent team that like could find its stride late. And these last couple games have kind of felt like kind of getting their feet under them finally. But I mean, again, like you look back to early in the season, it's like our losses at home to Texas A&M, to San Diego State, on the road at Green Bay. And there's one other home loss, I think South Dakota.
South Dakota losing by them at one point on a buzzer beater.
Yeah, I'm Like you look back at all those losses, and like I think this team today wins those games. But that's just how it rolls with a really young team. You like are gonna look back and be like, man, I think we could have gotten that one, like with the gift of hindsight, like with the experience that they have today. But assuming like this core sticks together, which is never a given nowadays, but it seems like Jordan Spicer wants to stay based off just like how she's been playing recently. She's been really energized, but I yeah I'm still happy about like how the season has gone for the most part. I mean, it doesn't mean I haven't been disappointed when we've lost, but like we've I think met my expectations for this season.
Yeah, and man, I am just excited to get another season of who I think is basically just another big three. I mean, Foy, Spicer, and Garcia are they're amazing. Like already, they are very good players, and I don't think it is a stretch to say that those three could be equal to kind of the big three that we just came off of.
As in Serena, Jalen, and Yogi.
Yes. Like, obviously, I don't think any of them are going to reach like GOAT status of Yoki, but I think that at the end of the day, we can look at them and view them with a very similar fondness of like they were extremely good.
Yeah, I could live with that. Yeah, like that like interpretation of like like they're remembered fondly in a similar way, because like I don't think that they will be able to reach like the true like talent threshold that those three were able to reach, especially Oakley and Serena. I think Jordan could. I just think she's a little too limited athletically, but I think that she can compensate for that enough of the college game to still be a great player. But I do expect, especially Foy, I think, to take a big leap next year because Foy is someone who I think of that group has been the most inconsistent. Even with Spicer like being inconsistent, that's kind of a built-in product of being a three-point specialist. You're going to have days where you get 20. You're going to have days where you get 6, like we've just seen in this tournament. But Foy, I think that getting more comfortable in the game for her, I think that she's really going to take off as she gets her feet settled under her. And there's still a lot of other players that I hope we keep around too. Like Harad, I think could be a really great player. I love her athleticism and her rebounding ability. So she's kind of a natural, I think, when it comes to rebounding. She's a good defender. If we can get her to be an average shooter, I'd be very pleased with that.
Yeah, it's kind of like Zy Walker syndrome where we were just waiting for. Granted, she's not the defender that Zy was. Zy, the nightmare scenario being offense, having to go up against Jalen Glenn and Zy Walker.
Yeah. Well, the difference I think with them is Zy, I think, was certainly a better defender her position, but Brandy is just way more versatile than Zy because Brandy can guard the wing or the post pretty comfortably. Zy like really just not a post defender, but in open court, like truly nails.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the women's Catsketball team. Now we can talk a little bit about the BatCats, who only had 3 games that we get to cover. A generational choke and then 2 pretty boring games, honestly. And this is someone who loves the BatCats and who loves baseball. I think the first one is going to be the one that gets the most attention. K-State losing to Columbia 9-8 on their opening day, blowing a 5-0 lead. I think that never feels good. And then regaining the lead in the 7th, only to immediately lose it again in the 8th and lose on your home opener against Columbia, who are they the worst team that we've played? No. Are they good? No.
Yeah, it's too bad to drop this game early. I mean, like, we're going to probably look back, and I think this Columbia team, like, is probably going to be, like, well thought of. Like, because Columbia, like, they've produced some really talented players, like, year in, year out. and I think that they're probably going to be good again. I think they're among the favorites to win the Ivy this year. I'm pretty sure that we've brought in transfers from Columbia in the past. I can't remember. Seth Dardar might have been a Columbia transfer. I can't remember for sure. But yeah, I mean, last year they tied for the regular season championship in the Ivy League. They won 30-19. Like they were a pretty solid team. I mean, they struggled some against some high major competition, but they made it to the NCAA tournament as a 4 seed, and they actually upset Southern Miss in the first game of the NCAA tournament. They ended up dropping their next 2 games to Miami, and then the rematch with Southern Miss they dropped because they just didn't have the depth in pitching, which is what we saw when we faced them. But like they're not a per se bad team. I think maybe overreacted a bit personally as this loss because I truly did kind of feel like the sky was falling. But like taking a step back, this like Columbia team is not a bad team. I still think we should have swept them, but it's not like an end of the world scenario losing to them, especially when we look at teams in college baseball that have been dropping like flies recently. Like LSU has lost like 3 straight games to mid majors. So like Northeastern, they lost. So we've lost Northeastern several times the last couple years on the road. They lost to Northeastern at home the other night. And Louisiana, like I think they've been going up against LSU recently too. But it's I didn't see the results of their game. I don't know if you did, Ace, but
I can check. I can check real quick if you want to stall for time.
I mean, I can just check right now because I already have the website up. They beat LSU.
They beat LSU 7-2. Yeah. And they're playing Dallas Baptist the day that this comes out, which is another perennial power.
Yeah, that was LSU. They actually played them at home, like at Louisiana, like the Raging Cajuns. They played them at home. So
weird, but
yeah. So it's a like college baseball is a weird sport. Like great teams lose to teams that like we don't like even know the names of sometimes. Like we obviously know Louisiana. We just played them, and they're like a G5 decent team for football. But yeah, so losing this first game to Columbia really sucks, especially the way that it happened. But the overarching point here is that this isn't like a harbinger of doom for the rest of the year.
No. And I do want to give a shout out to, I can talk about the pitchers since I love pitching. James Guyette had an amazing outing, going 5 innings, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, only 84 pitches. He probably could have gone the full 6 to get the quality start. Honestly, I think he probably could have, only giving up 3 hits in that time. And then the wheels kind of fell off with Robert Fortenberry going 1 1/3, 4 hits, 6 total runs, a walk, 2 strikeouts with 10 batters faced. Ian Longoria going 1/3 of an inning, an earned run with 2 walks and a strikeout. And then after we regained the lead, the unfortunate victim of Cole Weisenbaker, who I think is still getting used to pitching again after being injured last year. 4 hits, 2 earned runs, including the one that ends up losing K-State the game. Poor Austin Haley comes in, goes 1 1/3, gets a strikeout, and really just sort of cleans up. I am curious to see, and this isn't a Cole Weisenbaker is bad statement. It is an I wonder how long his leash is going to be statement. Because we still have yet to see Adam Arthur this year, I believe, unless I'm missing him. So,
I don't think
unless he's hurt.
Like honestly, at this point, I think that's the most likely option is that he is injured. We just don't know about it because I'm absolutely shocked that we haven't seen him yet because like he's a very quality pitcher. Even if you like don't want to like use him for long outings, he can be a situational lefty matchup. And he would probably be a better option than Weisenbaker right now because Weisenbaker still seems to kind of be, like you said, getting used to the game again, which I also wonder how long will his leash be, and like maybe it would be beneficial to shut him down for a couple weeks, like let him rehab a little more and then get him back in. as opposed to just like continuing to throw him high leverage innings where he gets blown up, because I don't think that's going to help his rehab at all.
No. And it's gonna really hurt his confidence if this keeps happening. And pitching is like 95% confidence. Like if you don't think that you can go out there and get the guy in front of you out with consistency, you can't pitch. Like that is period end of it. Like it's not like other positions where you can, playing in the field, you could be a really good defender and just have a little bit of a slip at the plate. You're still a valuable player. If you lose your confidence, like as a pitcher, that is it. That is what you do. So, yeah, I think that he will continue to get opportunities just so he can sort of get his feet under him again. But at some point, you have to wait for the light bulb to click on. And if it's not clicking on, you may have to do a few more rehab starts or more simulated games than throwing him in high leverage situations.
Yeah. I was like okay with it to start with, because I was like, early in the season's a great time to like get a guy like some more run to get him ready for late in the season. But if the poor play is continuing to happen even after a few of these sort of like rehab-ish appearances, then I think you need to consider like taking him out of the bullpen for a few weeks and letting him get some more skill work done, or like you said, some simulated innings. Like, because a few times like you can make it work with throwing him out there and it not going well, but if it just keeps happening every time, like it's a mental game, and that's going to really hurt him.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, Robert Fortenberry also getting blown up was not helpful. But the bats did their part. My rule of thumb is if you lost and you only gave up about 4 runs, it's on the offense. If you lost and you gave up 6 runs or more, it's on the defense. Don't ask me what happens if you get to 5. I don't know.
Everyone sucks, I guess.
No one wins. But the offense, in my mind, did their part, and that's luckily you have a few good performances you can take note of here, Connor.
Yeah, Grant Gallagher, he went 3 for 4, drew a walk, had 1 RBI later in the game, scored a couple of runs. Really solid performance for him. He kind of had a bit of a slow start to the year, but has been figuring it out. D. Kennedy goes 3 for 4, 3 RBI, draws a walk, scores a couple runs. So really solid outing for D as well, including a triple in the 5th inning. Then AJ Vasco, 2 for 4, 3 RBI, a walk, an intentional walk as well later in the game. And he in the 5th inning had just like a absolutely mammoth, or it was the 4th inning, like a massive home run off of the roof of the training facility in right field.
Brian Smoller's favorite.
Yes, off Brandeberry. Like, I hope they like put a mic out there so you can like hear it like impact the metal, because you can hear it like in person. It is very demoralizing though when it's the other team that does it. That you just get this loud thunk to remind the pitcher of like how big of a mistake he made. But yeah, Vasco continues to just play like a guy that's going to get drafted this summer. So I'm glad that he didn't portal, and we're going to get him for this year, because that man is going to be a early to mid-round draft pick for certain next year. Other than the few that I've mentioned already, there's a couple more guys here. Carlos Vasquez struggled 0 for 5. Which is unfortunate. And hoping for more from him. And also had a lot of pinch runners and hitters and whatnot in this game. 3 guys listed at catcher: Bear Madliak, then Dante Lewis pinch ran, then Shea McGahan, and then Chandler Murray, I think, must have been a pinch hitter. It says he played catcher, but I think it must be. I was going to say I really doubt that, but maybe, I guess, I don't know. But and then Robbie Bolin, he drew a walk, went 1 for 4. We've moved him to the back of the lineup, and we've put Shintaro anyway up the front of the lineup, partially, I think, to try and get Shintaro a little bit more efficient at the plate, because it's been a bit of a quiet start to the year for him. But
yeah. Then the next game was the next one of a doubleheader. Like I said, I think these last two games are a wee bit boring. K-State won the second half of the doubleheader 2-1. The lone scoring was off of a Grant Gallagher. Lone scoring for K-State, I should say, was a Grant Gallagher double, which scored Bear Madliak and Robbie Bolin. He was, the only person who had more than one hit on the day was AJ Vasco, going 2 for 3. And then Grant Gallagher had the winning RBIs. In terms of notable offensive stats, that's it. Anyway, the pitching, there was a lot of them, which including the rare college opener strategy.
Yeah, we saw Carson Liggett get the start in this game, but he only went 1 inning. It was kind of a busy inning, but he didn't give up any runs. It was just a lot of pitches. It was 1 hit, 1 walk, 3 flyouts. So he faced 5 batters, took him 24 pitches to get through that inning. But then he left. And I'm not sure if it was an opener thing or if it was like a injury precaution thing. So I'm a little worried about that. I don't have any solid information on it, which don't take what I'm saying as dogma on that. But it's mainly, my worry mainly stems from the fact that I don't know. So I'm hoping that we get some additional information on that at some point, but he's not listed as a starter this weekend. We still have our regular Friday and Sunday guys and James Gaia and Lincoln Sheffield. But Saturday we're getting Tanner Duke as the starter after a really excellent performance down in Louisiana as a midweek guy last week. That's kind of getting outside the scope of this game, though, but just providing some context on my feelings on Carson Liggett, who I really liked this year. Just hoping that he is healthy still, because he's been a great asset for our bullpen. But Aaron Arnold, we got our first sight of him this year. We haven't seen him yet. He's a Wichita State transfer. He went 2 2/3, gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run, a walk, 4 strikeouts. Took him 60 pitches to get through this, so working a lot of counts pretty high. K-State threw a ton of pitches in this game, but Arnold ultimately just gives up the 1 run. For a first outing of the year, I think that's a fine enough number. Hopefully we can see a little bit more of him. He's a pretty imposing presence on the mound. He's not absolutely huge, but he's just kind of stocky. And that kind of adds a little perceived velocity, I think, just because he throws hard and it's a lot of mass moving quickly. But after him, we saw Miles Smith, who we saw intermittently last year with varying degrees of success. And I think that can kind of describe his outing in this game with and it was very inconsistent, but he ultimately didn't allow any damage. He put himself in a lot of bad situations that he proceeded to kind of luck his way out of, which I will take, but it was just not very comfy. But Miles Smith, he gave up 3 hits, gave up 2 walks as well, struck out 2 through 36 pitches in his 2 1/3 innings. And then to close out the game, Billy Ike, he pitched 3 innings, only 2 walks, the 2 strikeouts through 39 pitches. So really great outing for Billy Ike. 5 flyouts and then just 1 ground out. A lot of flyouts for K-State in this game. So Columbia was really trying to get the ball in the air, see if they could take advantage of the very batter-friendly outfield we have. But the pitchers are able to mostly keep them high as opposed to deep.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about a lot of mass coming at you, Billy Ike is 6'6", 260. It looks like he's throwing on top of you. So That's intimidating.
Yeah, and like his actual velo's not overwhelming. He's a low 90s fastball pitcher, but again, like when you're that big, like it really helps with the perceived velocity. Like, he's not Carson Seymour, touching like 96 with his fastball with that sort of frame. But he's been a solid pitcher so far, solid relief arm.
Yeah. And then the last game was for K-State was a K-State victory 5-2. All the scoring was done within the first 2 innings. Ty Smolinski hit a 3-run home run. A Shintaro Inoue single scored Bear Madliak, and then a Micah Kendrick walk scored the final run of the game in the second inning. So again, another one of those, yep, this was indeed a baseball game. Shintaro Inoue going 2 of 5. Grant Gallagher going 1 for 3 with a walk. Ty Smolinski goes 1 for 4, but the one is the big one, which was the 3-run home run, then a slattering of 1 for 4s and 1 for 3s. We also saw Nick English in this game get the start in left field, which is hopefully this is the beginning of the Nick English revenge tour, because no disrespect to Nick English, but he was bad last year. Like there's sophomore slumps, and then there's what happened to Nick English last year.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, he did have a pretty solid outing. I mean, he went 1 for 1 and drew 2 walks. I am fine with that any day of the week from Nick English. But we've only seen him in 2 games this year, which makes him, I think, among players that have taken a plate appearance, the least appearing player on the roster. I think the only other player that has actually been in a game that has seen less time is going to be Rowan Putz, who played some defense but didn't actually get a plate appearance. But Nick, I think he's 2 for 2 with a couple walks so far this year. So infinite efficiency for Nick English, infinite slugging percentage, infinite on base percentage. It doesn't get better than that, I guess, for Nick. Maybe he's protecting his perfect averages and like picking his matchups or something. But
some poor MLB like draft analyst is gonna be like, this guy had an OPS of like 3,000. Wow.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get a little bit more Nick English to kind of vary the lineup here and there. Especially because the offense has been so inconsistent to start the year. I mean, we've seen what it can do, but we need a lot more consistency if we want to get back to the postseason. Because I think if the season ended today, I don't think we're a postseason worthy team based on our resume, even though we have had a few good games. But these last couple of weeks, we've definitely slid a little bit. But doesn't mean it's over. Far from it. But I guess I'll go through the pitching now. Lincoln Sheffield had a career day. He was fantastic. He went 6 2/3, so couldn't quite get through 7, but a very quality start for him. 6 hits given up, but only 2 earned runs, and those were in the first inning. Then just 1 walk. That's 8 strikeouts and 1 wild pitch. So 96 pitches for him. Very, very good outing. For Lincoln Sheffield, very happy with that. Taz Butler, 1 1/3, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, a wild pitch, 30 pitches. So very busy in that 1 1/3 innings, but ultimately doesn't give up any damage. Then Cohen Feezer, who's kind of been our closer so far, 1 inning, 2 hits, 1 strikeout, 20 pitches for him. So he's able to come in and get everybody home. And so really it's the Lincoln Sheffield experience for the last game.
Yeah. So the next matchups for K-State are up against Southern Illinois University Edwardsville, better known as SIUE. Do not ask me if I had to Google that's what their full name was, because the answer is yes. But they were picked to win their conference, so it's another solid team, but another team that K-State should at least take 2 of 3, probably should sweep, but it's baseball, it happens. And like Connor mentioned, it's going to be a little bit of a shakeup in the rotation. I imagine we see Dante Lewis as a pitcher, probably in relief on the second day at Tanner Duke. Maybe day one in relief of Guyette. It depends. But, yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, we have this series, and then next Tuesday and Wednesday, we get Wichita State and South Dakota State back-to-back days. They're visiting Manhattan. And then we start conference play. We get Houston on the road. Then we have a non-conference game against Baylor. Then we have Arizona State here, and then we're kind of in the swing of things. Like, so non-conference play is just about done. At least like proper non-conference play. We'll still have our non-con games in the mid weeks, of course. So we'll continue with that. But other than that, yeah, we're really in on the core of the season at this point.
Yeah. And, it's always a fun time, but thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. If you want to follow or contact the show, you can follow us just about anywhere at Aggieville Alleycats. And if you want to email us, we're AggievilleAlleycats@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on a more personal note, I'm at ACEdwards00.
I'm at Connor Boutsler, capital C, capital B.
And if you want to support the show financially, please be sure to check out the official Aggieville Alleycats merch store. Link found in our podcast and Twitter bio. But most importantly, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. Where come rain, shine, or anything between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news you so love. Stay safe, Alleycats.